Meghan Markle has just been blacklisted. Not quietly, not accidentally, and definitely not polite.
Blacklisted. Yes, you heard that right. The woman once introduced as Her Royal Highness, the face of elegance, power, and perfectly filtered prestige, may have just been quietly iced out by one of Milan's most ruthless luxury houses. And it all started with a photo. One party. One deleted post. 3 glittering letters, Her Royal Highness. And suddenly, the Italian fashion circle isn't whispering. They are watching. So what happened to Meghan Markle, the self-styled Duchess of Sussex? Why were images from Kris Jenner's ultra-exclusive soiree mysteriously scrubbed from the Kardashian family's socials, only to reappear hours later, glowing on Bellariva Milano's feed like a sponsored fairy tale? Privacy? Or power play? Because insiders are hinting that what social media has now crowned Photogate wasn't a glitch. It was a move. And in the world of couture, power moves have consequences. No dramatic press conference. No official statement. Just strategic silence. And in high fashion, silence is never innocent. Tonight, we're unraveling the timeline, the contradictions, and the whispers that suggest Meghan Markle didn't just lose control of a narrative. She may have lost Milan. And trust me, this is bigger than a pair of black tie sandals. Let's rewind the tape. Because Photogate didn't explode overnight. It simmered. It brewed quietly behind velvet ropes and crystal chandeliers. Kris Jenner's annual midnight masquerade isn't just a party. It's a power summit disguised as champagne and sequins. Billionaires, influencers, tech heirs, fashion royalty. If you're invited, you matter. And this year, Meghan Markle walked in like she owned the air. Custom black silk, Bellariva Milano heels, a sculpted bow clutch worth more than most people's monthly rent. And those diamond thread love arc earrings that screamed, "Look at me, but only the way I allow." She wasn't just attending. She was positioning. Prince Harry stayed close, silent, strategic. The Sussex brand has always operated like a fortress. Curated appearances, controlled captions, filtered access. Nothing breathes without approval. Which is why what happened next felt deliberate. The Kardashian family did what they always do. They documented. Snapped photos, posted highlights, glamorous group shots, celebrity crossovers, champagne clinks. And there she was, Meghan Markle, smiling, framed between media moguls, tagged, for exactly 47 minutes. Then, gone. Deleted. No explanation. No caption edit. Just digital smoke. Within hours, People magazine released a neat little narrative. The Sussexes had reportedly selected no photo consent on the guest agreement. The Jenner team, respectful as ever, removed the images. Case closed. Except it wasn't. Because while social media detectives were still zooming into blurry screenshots and arguing about lighting angles, Bellariva Milano dropped a post. High resolution. Polished. Professionally lit. Close-ups of the heels. The clutch. The earrings. And the caption? Her Royal Highness Meghan Markle embodies modern aristocratic glamour. Let that sink in. Her Royal Highness. The title Meghan Markle had publicly agreed not to use after stepping back from official ceremonial life. But here it was. Bold. Centered. Monetized. Suddenly, Photogate wasn't about privacy. It was about preference. Why remove candid party shots, but approve editorial glam portraits from the exact same night? Why silence the Kardashian family, a media empire with 100 million combined followers, but allow Bellariva Milano to amplify the moment to the Italian fashion circle? Insiders began whispering something sharper. This wasn't privacy. This was narrative ownership. Because in the Jenner photos, Meghan Markle was one of many. A glamorous guest among titans. In the Bellariva post, she was the titan. The focus. The fantasy. The brand extension. And here's where it gets uncomfortable. Sources close to event organizers claim the Sussexes were polite but immovable about photo control. One staff member allegedly described the exchange as firm, professional, non-negotiable. Nothing goes live without clearance. Nothing. Which raises the million-dollar couture question. If the no-photo boundary was sacred, how did Bellariva Milano clear it? Industry chatter suggests pre-approval. Coordinated rollout. Possibly even a quiet endorsement agreement masked as organic appreciation. Because fashion houses don't gamble with royal-adjacent optics. Not accidentally. They strategize. And the timing? Surgical. The Bellariva post landed just as Photogate started trending. As if to redirect the spotlight. To reframe the narrative. To replace candid chaos with curated majesty. But Milan isn't Hollywood. The Italian fashion circle thrives on discretion. Prestige. Unwritten codes. And when those codes are bent, or worse, weaponized, consequences ripple quietly. No public feuds. Just colder invitations. Tighter guest lists. And doors that don't open twice. By morning, fashion forums were dissecting every pixel. Comment sections exploded. Critics accused Meghan Markle of wanting exclusivity without equality. Glamour without vulnerability. Royal sparkle without royal rules. The Sussex brand built its empire on control. But control is fragile. And when the illusion cracks, even slightly, the echo is louder than any scandal headline. Because this wasn't just about a deleted photo. It was about who gets to tell the story. And for the first time in a long time, Meghan Markle may not be the one holding the pen, and that's when the whispers stopped being whispers. Because once the screenshots started circulating, the narrative spiraled fast. Fashion insiders, the kind who never speak on record but always know everything, began hinting that Bellariva Milano's post wasn't spontaneous admiration. It was allegedly part of a carefully timed visibility arrangement. Not a formal contract. Not an ad campaign stamped #sponsored. Something softer. Something quieter. But very intentional. One anonymous stylist, who claims to work closely within the Italian fashion circle, allegedly described it like this. Luxury doesn't post royalty-adjacent figures by accident. Every tag is vetted. Every title is strategic. And every risk is calculated. Calculated. That word again. Because the use of Her Royal Highness wasn't subtle. It wasn't hidden in fine print. It was front and center, a glittering crown in text form. And that's where Photogate mutated from social media drama into brand politics. Critics online began connecting dots that may or may not even exist, but once the internet starts drawing lines, it doesn't stop. If Meghan Markle publicly stepped away from ceremonial prestige, why allow a fashion house to revive it? If privacy was sacred, why approve polished portraits from the same night? If the Kardashian family had to delete, why did Bellariva get the green light? The math, as they say, wasn't mathing. Meanwhile, People magazine doubled down on its privacy protection angle, publishing a follow-up piece painting the Sussexes as firm guardians of personal boundaries. But the comment sections were brutal. Privacy for candids, publicity for couture, one user wrote. Selective silence is still noise, another added. And then came the financial speculation. Marketing analysts started questioning whether this was a prestige gamble gone wrong. Because Bellariva Milano is known for restraint, old money elegance, generational discretion. Their clientele isn't fueled by trending hashtags. It's built on heritage. So why step into a storm this loud? A luxury consultant allegedly told a podcast host, when you attach yourself to controversy, even indirectly, you inherit its chaos. Suddenly, fashion blogs weren't praising the heels. They were dissecting the hypocrisy. Royal commentators, self-appointed or otherwise, began resurfacing old critiques of the Sussex brand. Accusations of narrative manipulation, of calculated appearances disguised as spontaneity. And just like that, Photogate wasn't about a party anymore. It was about pattern. Pattern of control. Pattern of positioning. Pattern of appearing above the fray, while quietly orchestrating it. The most explosive rumor? That certain members of the Italian fashion circle were less than thrilled about being dragged into what they considered a Hollywood-style optics game. One event coordinator allegedly summarized the mood perfectly. Milan doesn't do spectacle. It does sophistication. And spectacle, intentional or not, is exactly what erupted. No official backlash. No angry statements. Just something colder. Distance. Because in luxury, you're not cancelled loudly. You're excluded silently. And if the whispers are even half true, Meghan Markle may be discovering that in high fashion, reputation isn't built on spotlight. It's built on restraint. And restraint, right now, is nowhere to be found. And here's where things take a turn no one in the Sussex brand camp probably anticipated. Because controversy in Hollywood? That's currency. Controversy in Milan? That's contamination. As Photogate kept trending, something subtle started shifting behind the scenes. Not dramatic headlines. Not explosive press conferences. Something far more dangerous. Silence. Bellariva Milano stopped reposting. Stopped engaging. Stopped amplifying. The glamorous carousel featuring Meghan Markle? Still up, but frozen. No follow-up. No behind-the-scenes clips. No extended campaign rollout like insiders initially predicted. For a brand known to stretch a high-profile appearance into a week-long digital moment, the quiet felt intentional. And in elite fashion, when momentum dies overnight, people notice. Rumors began circulating that internal conversations at Bellariva weren't celebratory. They were strategic. Risk assessment meetings. Brand alignment reviews. Long-term positioning talks. One anonymous consultant allegedly framed it bluntly. Luxury brands don't blacklist loudly. They just never call you again. Let that sink in. No dramatic breakup. No public unfollow. Just a future where invitations don't arrive. Because here's the uncomfortable reality: the Italian fashion circle trades in stability. Legacy. Controlled mystique. And when a partner introduces unpredictable narrative storms, that mystique cracks. Photogate didn't just question Meghan Markle's consistency. It questioned Bellariva's judgment. Why risk decades of cultivated elegance for a headline cycle that spirals out of control in 48 hours? Meanwhile, the online debate intensified. Commentators began speculating whether this could trigger wider distancing. Would other European houses hesitate before dressing the Duchess of Sussex again? Would private galas quietly adjust guest lists? No confirmations. But the tone shifted. And tone is everything. The Sussex brand built itself on empowerment and independence, on rewriting rules. But rewriting rules only works when the audience applauds. When the audience starts scrutinizing. That's when reinvention becomes damage control. Some observers argue this will pass. That controversy fuels visibility. That Meghan Markle thrives in friction. But others see something different. They see a pattern where every attempt at control creates a larger narrative spiral. Because Photogate wasn't loud because of a scandalous act. It was loud because of contradiction. Delete here. Approve there. Deny spotlight. Reclaim spotlight. And the Italian fashion circle, notorious for reading between the lines, reads contradiction as instability. The most chilling whisper floating through fashion corridors right now isn't about lawsuits or public feuds. It's about trust. Once luxury brands sense unpredictability, they pivot. Not publicly. Quietly. And if Bellariva Milano truly decides to create distance, others may follow. Not out of outrage, but out of caution. Because in high fashion, association is everything. And if the cost of association becomes unpredictable headlines instead of polished prestige, doors don't slam. They close softly. The real question isn't whether Meghan Markle can survive Photogate. It's whether the Italian fashion circle believes she's worth the risk. And in a world where image is currency, being seen as unstable is more expensive than any pair of black tie heels. So here we are. A masquerade that turned into a media minefield. A deleted photo that refuses to disappear. A luxury label now wrapped in whispers it never asked for. And at the center of it all? Meghan Markle. The Duchess of Sussex. The architect of the Sussex brand. The woman who built her empire on control, and may have just watched that control slip through perfectly manicured fingers. Because Photogate was never just about a party. It was about power. Who gets to frame the image? Who gets to approve the narrative? Who decides when privacy matters, and when prestige does? Was this a calculated branding masterstroke that simply misfired? Or did the Italian fashion circle just witness something they value less than scandal: inconsistency? Here's what makes this explosive. Luxury doesn't shout when it's unhappy. It withdraws. Quietly. Invitations slow down. Collaborations stall. Phone calls don't get returned. And by the time the world notices, it's already too late. So I'm asking you, did Meghan Markle overplay her hand? Was Bellariva Milano complicit, or cautious? Is this the beginning of a silent fashion exile? Or just another chapter in a saga where controversy fuels relevance? Drop your take in the comments. I want to know which side you're on, team strategy or team self-sabotage. And if you think Photogate is just the tip of something much bigger, make sure you hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Because in this world of velvet ropes and silent power plays, the next headline might already be loading.